Hi, boys and girls. This is Ms. Kathy. I'm so happy you've joined me today for another story just for you. Surprise! Happy birthday! This was the most boring day ever, Jenny complained. She stared out the window as the gray day turned into a black night. Her mother said from the couch. She was looking at Jenny's Sabbath school lesson for that week. We could have a birthday party. Jenny whirled around. A birthday party? It's not my birthday. It's not your birthday. The nearest birthday to today that I know about is Willie's, and that was last week. Her mother's eyes twinkled. Then it will be a real surprise party. Mom, it's not anyone's birthday. What are you talking about? Let me explain. While her mother talked, Jenny's eyes got bigger. Oh, she said. Oh, that's right. It'll be a surprise party, that's for sure. Let's call Mrs. Shoe. Sabbath morning, a light could be seen under the shoebox door while the rest of the church was still dark. If someone were listening closely, they might have heard the sound of a table scraping across the floor or someone giggling. Finally, it was time for church. The Vargases arrived first. Chris stopped in the hall to tie his shoe. Maria grabbed the doorknob of the shoebox door and pushed. Nothing happened. Hey, what's going on? Chris asked. Is Mrs. Shoe here? Maria shrugged. I don't know, but the door is locked. Do you think we should knock? Sammy came up while they were talking. I wonder if Mrs. Shoe is sick or gone, he said. Maybe they canceled our class like they closed school sometimes. What are you guys doing out here? Dee Dee asked as she arrived. Why don't you go in? Duh! Why didn't we think of that? Chris said, smacking his forehead. Because we can't, he told Dee Dee. The door's locked. Willie rolled up behind everyone. Why is the shoebox class out in the hall today? Because we can't get in, everyone said together. Willie reached out and turned the doorknob. The door squeaked open. Why not? Everyone looked at Maria. She shrugged. Well, it was locked before. It was. Come on, let's go in. Willie was the first one through the door. Wow, he whispered. There were streamers hanging from the ceiling and from the backs of the chairs. Balloons pulled at their strings from the four corners of a table at the front of the room. On that table sat a cake almost covered with burning candles. On the wall behind the cake was a big banner that said, Happy Birthday. Welcome, everyone, Mrs. Shoe called from the back. I'm so glad you could make it to our party. Jenny slipped out from behind the door. Let's sing Happy Birthday and blow out the candles before the whole cake catches on fire. But, Maria tried to say something, but loud singing from Jenny and Mrs. Shoe drowned out her voice. Finally, everyone joined in. Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you! Whose birthday is it? Maria asked as soon as the song was over. Jenny ignored her and went over to the window. Now we'll blow out the candles, Jenny said. She pushed the window open, and the cold winter wind blasted in. Whoosh! The candles flickered, then went out. Jenny slammed the door shut and pulled the curtain closed. Jenny, is it your birthday? Sammy asked. No, not mine, Jenny answered, but it is one you've all celebrated before. It must be Mrs. Shoe's birthday, Chris decided. Happy birthday, Mrs. Shoe. She chuckled. Thank you, Chris, but it's not my birthday. But it is a celebration I've enjoyed over and over. Willie snapped his fingers. I know. It must be for Martin Luther King's birthday. We celebrated that holiday this week at school. Mrs. Shoe shook her head. Martin Luther King Day is a special holiday, and it's a good idea to celebrate what Dr. King's work gave us. Equal rights for everyone of every color. But that's not what we're celebrating. Is it Pastor Hill's birthday? Dee Dee asked. Is he coming in so we can all shout, Surprise? No, that's not it, Jenny said. I'll give you a clue. She went back to the window and pulled open the curtains. Ta-da! Everyone stared out the window. Maria tapped her foot. Jenny, no one's there, she said. Jenny just smiled. Chris stuck his nose on the window pane. I can see Mrs. Othmeyer getting out of her car in the parking lot. That was just about the right number of candles for her. Is it her birthday? No, Chris, Jenny rolled her eyes, and there wasn't enough room on the cake for all the candles that should be there. Everyone was quiet for a minute. I don't know anyone that old, Sammy said. I'll give you another hint, Mrs. Shoe said. We celebrate this birthday every week right here. I get it, Willie shouted. Sabbath. We celebrate Sabbath here every week, But how is that like a birthday, Mrs. Shoe? When God finished all his creation, he rested on the seventh day and called it Sabbath. He set it apart as a special time to worship him and remember that he created us. Sabbath is the earth's birthday. So every Sabbath is God's way of saying, "Let's have a party," Chris decided. Everyone laughed. "I guess you're right, Chris," Mrs. Shoe said. "It's a celebration, a party, an invitation to stop and remember God, no matter where we are." Jenny's smile was the biggest of all. "So this is the Earth's birthday party. Everyone gets a piece of cake. I knew we needed a good reason to have a party. I just forgot that we have one every week."
The story you have heard today is from the Shoebox Kids Bible Stories, written by Jerry D. Thomas and used with permission from the Pacific Press Publishing Association. If you're interested in any other books published by the Seventh-day Adventist Church, please visit AdventistBookCenter.com or call 1-800-765-6955.
This podcast is a production of the Carolina Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.